Hey folks, David Stewart here. Let's talk a little bit about World of Warcraft. Retail World of Warcraft, actually, this time, specifically leveling in the Shadowlands Pre-Patch. For those of you who are looking to play retail, I want to talk about some tips for having a fast and fun and efficient leveling experience, given all the changes. I will save the discussion of the design behind the leveling changes for a separate video. So let me start by saying leveling right now is really easy. I leveled a character from 10 to 50 very, very quickly in like 10 hours. Actually, probably a lot less than that because there was a lot of idle and downtime with the leveling of that character. People who are really good and really on top of it could probably do it in like 6 or 8 hours. So it's very fast. This is the easiest, most nerfed leveling experience I've ever seen in World of Warcraft. And that's saying something because I thought after the Legion changes, it couldn't get any easier, and they made it definitely way easier. So what happened was they had a big level squish. So if you were level 120, now you're level 50. So max level right now is level 50. It'll go up to 60 when Shadowlands goes live. And they've also basically rigged it so you get more experience from quests, is what it seems like. You get a ton of experience from quests, so much so that it would be impossible to have a normal leveling experience like you used to have in the distant past, where you'd start through the regular Azeroth zones and then go to Burning Crusade and then Wrath of the Lich King, on and on. Rather, what they do now is you talk to Chromie and she puts you in one of those things. You can do Azeroth, which would be Cataclysm, or you can do, any of the others, Wrath of the Lich King, Pandaria, and you're basically going to do that one expansion to go from 10 to 50. You do your intro experience 1 to 10, wherever you want to do that. There's a new one called Exile's Reach. It's pretty fast and easy, and if you've never played the game before, it's pretty good intro experience. And then after that, you talk to Chromie, and she'll put you in one of those content areas, and you can just stay there until you get to level 50 and then go do Battle for Azeroth content, or just wait around for Shadowlands to come out. So from that really springs all the other things that make this easy. So the content levels with you. And because the content levels with you, they have a set difficulty, and that set difficulty is very low. It is the easiest version of the game that I've played to date, so you should be able to plow through it. If you're an experienced player, you should be able to plow through the content without any problems. The only times I died were like in the high 40s from PvP. And I would recommend that if you're level with War Mode on, in a lot of these cases, it's really unlikely you're going to see a player from the other faction. They're just probably not going to be in those zones to fight with you. And even if they do, they're going to be roughly the same power level as you. So it's going to be about an even fight. So because the power level is pretty much even with the character, they set the difficulty level pretty low. Very different from how it was in the past, where if you went into a zone that was too high level for you, you'd get completely owned, and you could decide what level mobs you really wanted to fight and what zones you wanted to go to based on how easy you wanted the game to be and whether you were with a group and things like that. Now it's pretty much set difficulty. Just go to whatever content or quest content you like and just do that until you're level 50. So here's the next big one. Heirlooms are not required. So that's the next big thing I'm going to recommend, is that if you don't have the heirloom gear, the bind on account gear that you can pull out, you don't really need it. So they changed the gear so that it no longer gives a set experience bonus. Rather, it gives you more rested XP and then will reduce the decay of the rested XP if you're wearing 8 pieces of it. If you're wearing all heirloom gear, all the heirloom gear you have, like legs, robe, whatever it's going to be. It'll reduce the time that it takes to, or it'll lengthen how much time you have with rested XP. Here's the thing though, rested XP is simply not that good anymore. Most of your experience is going to come from quest rewards. So if you're trying to go quickly, you want to go to zones that have an extremely high quest density. So it's the quest that gives you most of the experience. Just to put things in perspective, in the 40s levels, I was getting quests that would give me 8,000 experience for turning them in. The mobs I was killing were giving 30, 31, 35 experience. Okay, so most of the experience is going to be in the quest reward, not in killing mobs, which is what Rested XP will help you with. If you are only playing the character like an hour a week or something, then the Rested XP will be helpful. And if you have the heirlooms, you can put them on until they stop working. But I wouldn't recommend spending a bunch of gold to level them up. And if you don't have the heirlooms, don't worry about it. Because the content levels with you, the quest rewards also level with you. They're always going to be pretty much the item level of that level. So if you're level 20, you're going to get level 22 item level stuff, or like level 20 if it's green, 22 if it's blue, like 24 if it's epic. So you don't really need to worry about your gear. You're going to get a bunch of gear to replace what you have on anyway, pretty regularly. So if you don't have the heirlooms, don't worry about it. If you have the heirlooms, put them on. They'll give you an easy little early boost, but they're not going to give you a really strong boost over the long term, especially if you're power leveling, because you're going to run out of rested XP really quickly anyway. And the other set bonuses are really bad. It's like gives you a burst of, a stat when you level up. You're going to be leveling up quickly, but not quick enough to make use of that kind of thing, really at all. So just to put things in perspective, if you're going to spend like 7,500 gold to upgrade your weapon to go from level 45 to level 50, 7,500 gold is a lot of gold. Nowadays it's not that much gold, but it's it's enough gold that it's the same as like buying flying, epic flying for one of your characters. That extra 5 levels that you get to use that heirloom item comes down to about 1 to 2 hours of gameplay. So is it worth it to me to upgrade your heirlooms? To me, the answer is no. I upgraded some to level this shaman character, but I probably wouldn't spend a lot of gold. And I didn't level them all the way up because I'm like, I don't think it's going to be worth it. I think you're going to get through the levels so quickly, it's not going to matter. The other problem with the heirlooms is that once you get to the max level of them, so if you have them upgraded to level 45, once you get to level 45, the set bonuses stop working. All the rested XP bonuses, none of those matter anymore. In which case you can just happily replace them. So I say put them on. When they stop working, just start replacing them with better items that you get through questing, and just go on with that, because the quest rewards are going to be as good, in some cases better than the heirlooms that you have there. So 1 to 2 hours of gameplay time, spending 5,000 gold per piece to get that extra 5 levels, it's just not worth it, in my opinion. You're just not really going to see much of a benefit to it at all, especially if you're power leveling. So I would avoid spending money upgrading them to get like next 5 levels. You can use the base ones and then replace them as you go. If you're going to use an heirloom and upgrade it, I might recommend the neck piece, because there's a neck piece that you can use that will sacrifice health to give you a speed boost. Very useful at lower levels, just maybe useful in general. And you can put Mark of the Satyr on it, which will be a good enchant that you can use pretty much all the way up. Another thing I might suggest is, especially if you don't have heirlooms, or even if you have heirloom weapons, but you just want to be ahead of the power curve of the leveling experience a little bit, do Legion at level 10, and you'll get a free weapon that starts off at item level 20, which is really bad, but it's better than what you get at level 10. So you'll be ahead of the power curve a little bit. And if you're playing Legion, you can upgrade that weapon a couple of times with little artifacts that you can put in to make it go up to level 52. So if you want to have a weapon that's ahead of the curve, you can do Legion. And Legion weapons you can enchant with Battle for Azeroth enchants, like quick navigation and stuff like that. So you just put your really good BFA enchants on it, which are really not that expensive anyway, on your item level 52 weapon when you're like level 30, and you're going to be way ahead of the power curve. It's going to make it even easier. And that's saying something, because like I said, the level experience in general is pretty darn easy. If you're looking for the fastest experience, it's Warlords of Draenor still, and the Warlords of Draenor intro in particular will get you a bunch of levels right off the bat, and that has to do with the density of the quests. The quest rewards in terms of experience are very high, and there's a bunch of quests. You're doing one right after the other in that intro. Then you get out to the starting zones of Warlords of Draenor, depending on your faction, and then there's very high quest density with that. You're doing one right after the other until basically you're level 50. So it's really, really fast to do Warlords of Draenor. So if you have like an artifact weapon and you have it all enchanted and you're not worried about gear, Warlords of Draenor is a good one to do for that. But if you don't have the weapon, I think the Legion stuff can be really, really fast. You're going to slow down when you're doing the little artifact quests, but they're kind of fun anyway. So that's maybe a more balanced approach. But what's cool about WoD and Legion is that both of those zones have really high quest density and were designed to be done without flying. You can get flying at level 20, so by the time you get to level 20, it's going to speed up that much more, because you can just fly to each little quest and really, really, really get them done very, very, very quickly. So those are probably the two best ones. Cataclysm, once you have flying, is really easy. Of course, the higher level Cataclysm zones really require flying. They're designed to be used with flying. So you can do those. They're pretty high quest density as well. Another suggestion I make is if you don't care about power leveling, like leveling as quickly as possible, which is something that I think some people care about, not because they hate the leveling experience, but because it's just fun to try to do something really fast, do it really, really good. If that's not you and you just want to have leveling be, a casual break from in-game, which is design-wise what they really are viewing leveling now. I'll make a different video on the design changes with that. But if you're just looking for a little break from in-game level and alt, then just pick which expansion is your favorite in terms of quests and lore and aesthetics and all that. If you like Burning Crusade, just go do Burning Crusade. The setup of the quests a little bit closer to classic. Things are not as efficient, but it's fun. It's a great expansion. So do the one that you are really interested in doing, and you're probably going to have a really good time doing that. If you wanted some sort of ultimate leveling experience, it would probably be to level a classic character. Go up to level 60 playing classic. Take all that time. Takes a lot of time. And then roll a retail tune and do Burning Crusade. That'll take you to 50. And then roll another one. You can end up with a bunch of max level characters just doing one expansion at a time with different characters, getting them up to max level. If you really wanted to enjoy that and experience all the quest content, it'd be an easy way to do that. And then you'd have a bunch of max level characters to decide which one you wanted to play with when you got to Shadowlands. So that's basically my suggestions for this. Again, to put things in perspective, if you have 2 hours of gameplay, if you're spending thousands and thousands of gold for heirlooms to get extra 5 levels and you're getting 2 hours of gameplay out of that, compare that to classic, those 5 levels was like 20 hours. So if you used an item for 5 or 10 levels in classic, you're getting 20 or 40 hours of use out of that item. When you're playing it now in the Shadowlands Pre-Patch, you're getting like 2 hours of use. There's so much less time to level now compared to the way it was. It's not a substantial experience. It's just kind of a break from in-game. And design-wise, this doubles down on their idea that everything should be in the current expansion and current patch. So if that's what you want to do and you want to level quickly, those are some tips that I think should make it pretty easy. So thanks so much for listening to this little video. I know I don't have a bunch of gameplay for you to look at, but I wanted to get this done quickly for you. So thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time.